What exactly did the Japanese do that made the Americans so furious? On December 7, 1941, Japan suddenly launched an invasion of Southeast Asia. At the time, Southeast Asia was a major U.S. colony, and the U.S. military immediately responded by cutting off oil exports to Japan. That was basically choking Japan's lifeline. To force the U.S. back to the negotiating table, Isoroku Yamamoto finally made a decision: launch a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, hoping to wipe out the entire Pacific Fleet in one strike. The Japanese then carried out 3 months of air raid training and even sent spies to photograph the layout of battleships in Pearl Harbor. On the morning of December 7, 1941, Japanese soldiers tied victory headbands on their foreheads, and hundreds of bombers lifted off from aircraft carriers, flying straight toward Pearl Harbor. The island's residents thought it was just a big military exercise. Many American sailors on the warships were still sound asleep. It wasn't until the bombers flew low into the harbor and dropped torpedoes that a deafening explosion shattered the peace. Panic spread instantly. Civilians ran in all directions, and the U.S. military finally realized they were under attack. They rushed back to their stations, but it was already too late. Fierce artillery fire pelted the American warships, and Pearl Harbor instantly became a living hell. When the bombers were about to launch a third wave, Yamamoto suddenly ordered them to pull back. Deep down, he already sensed that Japan would soon face America's furious retaliation. After the bombing, the waters of Pearl Harbor were littered with countless bodies. Even a seasoned U.S. admiral sent to rescue survivors couldn't hold back his tears at the horrific sight. The U.S. quickly launched rescue efforts and immediately held an emergency meeting, formally declaring war, vowing to punish Japan in the name of justice. President Roosevelt even proposed bombing the Japanese homeland directly. But Japan was simply too far away, and U.S. bombers didn't have the range. They had to get within 400 miles to take off. That meant only aircraft carriers could do the job. But if a carrier was spotted and sunk, the losses would be devastating. This proposal sparked strong opposition within the military, with almost everyone believing it was an impossible task. Almost everyone believed it was an impossible mission, but right then, President Roosevelt, despite his disability, struggled to his feet and firmly told everyone, nothing is impossible. In the end, the U.S. decided to use the aircraft carrier USS Hornet to deliver bombers near Midway, preparing to strike back at Japan.